It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. Welcome into another edition here in the confines of Pennsylvania, where one moment you could be shoveling snow and the next cutting grass. At least that's how it seems like it's been the last couple of days here in wintry PA. It's Greg Banks live on the airnetwork.net, Monday Night Sports Talk. Dave Shannon, by the way, in Altoona tonight, live via Skype. And Dave, isn't that the truth? One moment you could be doing maybe cutting the grass, next moment shoveling snow this time of year.
I mowed the lawn Wednesday, and Sunday morning I got up, and it was all white.
I know. You know, my landlord the other day was on his riding tractor. I think it was like Thursday, cutting grass, and then on Sunday he was out shoveling a little bit of snow off the driveway. So welcome to Pennsylvania in our world. Hey, it's a sports night in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Well, actually, I'm not in Johnstown any further. I'm in Kansas, but I soon to be in Houston tonight, by the way, Dave.
Oh.
I'm having a brain fart. Please hang with me. Okay. Anyhow, yes, it will be basketball night in Houston, Texas tonight. Of course, the NCAA Championships getting underway. I guess about what time, Dave? 9 o'clock tonight.
Let me just check the old TV guide thingy here.
I'm thinking about 9 tonight on TBS. By the way, on TBS, Dave and I will talk about that in a moment too, because I just think that's bogus. I can't find it on a real network. But anyhow, NCAA Championships tonight, pitting North Carolina versus Villanova Wildcats. And what a wild game that was the other evening between Villanova and Oklahoma, where Villanova won that game by 44 points. I got to believe, Dave, if I'm not mistaken, that has to be some kind of record. I'm not sure if they broke a record or if they set a record.
It was amazing. It was an amazing game to watch, and it was as though Oklahoma went home at about the 20-point lead mark, and Villanova was just so hot. You know, it's one of those deals where you wish you could, like, put that in a jar or a can.
Right.
Open it back up tonight.
Well, that was what they got a can of something, but it wasn't a can of, well, it was a can of surprises. But listen, I talked to Jimmy Ty earlier this afternoon, and he wanted to kind of weigh in and get his prediction in first and talk a little bit about the game. So if you can indulge me just a second, Dave, let's hear what Jimmy Ty had to say live via Skype this afternoon here on the airnetwork.net as we get set for the big game between UNC and Villanova this evening. Got Jimmy Ty on the line tonight via Skype from Hamburg, Pennsylvania, as Jimmy, I don't know if you watched that Oklahoma game, but your boy Buddy Hield was held to, matter of fact, some atrocious scoring against
9 points.
Against the Wildcats. What happened in that game, first of all, between the Wildcats and Oklahoma, man?
Nova had the Sooners' number. That's basically what it is. Like, Oklahoma beat them back in Hawaii by like 24 points or something crazy like that back in December. Mm-hmm. And Jay Wright did his homework, probably went back and watched film, and Nova just had Oklahoma's number that night.
So,
shut out Buddy Hield, the best player, in my opinion, the best player in the nation.
Right.
In my opinion, Buddy Hield is going to be the first pick of the draft.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. He probably would have gone high last year if he'd have came out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that was kind of embarrassing. Even Lon Kruger made mention that was probably one of the best or worst beatings that the Sooners have taken in a long time. But they'll learn from that, regroup, hopefully, with some of the guys who will be coming back next season and go deep into the tournament again. Hey, meanwhile, in Game 2, the Tar Heels Syracuse, I know that you picked Syracuse in that game, but boy, that wasn't even close near the end either. Although
North Carolina just has too much firepower. Bryce Johnson, Marcus Page, Joel Berry II.
Mm-hmm.
You could Meeks. Man, you can go down the line. Man, it's like you look at North Carolina, they are like the McDonald's All-Americans of like the past 3 years.
Exactly. Now, you had mentioned before the game, because I texted you to see what your prediction was for those games on Saturday. You mentioned Syracuse. Their 3-2 defense, is that what they usually use, or at a 2-3 defense? You mentioned
they use a man-to-man. They use a 3-2 man-to-man defense.
Okay, well that didn't work out That didn't work out quite well at all, did it? I mean, on Saturday night.
Because the way to break a press ball, a defense like that, is you can't drive through the lane because they'll collapse on you.
Yeah.
So what North Carolina was doing was just lobbing it over top of the zone and giving it to Bryce Johnson or Kennedy Meeks or whoever it is and laying it up.
Okay. Well, listen, let's talk a little bit about this evening's game because that's coming up in a couple of hours here. And, of course, we have Monday Night Sports Talk live on the air this evening. Jimmy, let me kind of get an idea of who to watch this evening in that Wildcat North Carolina game. And how do you see that turning out this evening?
Well, since I live down here in Eastern PA now.
Yeah, Villanova.
And Villanova is literally like 45 minutes from where I live at.
All right, so your loyalties are going to change now.
My loyalty is going to change, and I got to go with the Big East and Villanova Wildcats, Nova Nation the whole way.
Oh, there's no
Nova
doubt.
Nation, they been outscoring opponents like nuts.
Yeah.
In the whole tournament. Ryan Archie-Manello, or whatever the heck that kid's name is, the white boy on the team.
Archie-Donato, whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is, man. He can score from anywhere on the floor. They have Hart, they're another good player.
Right.
They just
they're just
are a better team.
overwhelming.
They're a better team, and North Carolina, they're coming into the tournament as the top dog now.
Right, exactly.
And, everybody's picking, North Carolina, but be careful, man. Oklahoma was the same way. Everybody's thinking, Oklahoma with Buddy Hill.
Yeah, I got to believe that the people in Vegas probably are crying today over that Oklahoma Wildcats game, man, with a 44-point
It's
thing.
a 2-point spread, and then they're picking – Vegas is picking North Carolina by 2 over Nova.
Okay, let me ask you your prediction then. What do you see as the winner tonight? And, of course, give us a point spread if you want to do that too.
Man, like I said, Villanova. But every time I pick a team to win, they lose. So,
well, earlier today, I just sat down, I thought about it, and the firepower that, of course, Villanova has. And, of course, UNC's had a pretty good season, too. So I'm picking North Carolina by at least 10, I'll say, tonight. So we'll see how that all works out. Let me ask you this final question about these two teams. Anybody on there that you think will likely make it into the NBA? Because that wasn't such the case. Like, these guys are playing as teams as opposed to, like Villanova. They really don't have any superstars collectively. They're all kind of superstars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that who makes it in the NBA. I can see Bryce Johnson doing well.
Okay.
I can see Marcus Page making it in the draft. Yeah. Maybe Marcus Page is a mid-first-round pick. Bryce Johnson from a 6 to 10 pick.
Yeah, okay.
With Villanova, they don't have, they have one high school All-American on their whole team.
Exactly.
And I can't remember who that is. Yeah. I think it might be Josh Hart.
Yeah,
But I predict the winner of the game will be Nova Nation.
Yeah.
They're going to bring the title back to Philadelphia, to Nova.
Finally, somebody gets a championship in Philadelphia.
Yeah, because we sure know it's not going to be the Flyers.
It's not going to be the Flyers or the Sixers
or
this
the
year.
Sixers, no.
And not even the Phillies. No.
I believe the Wildcats will win, let's say, by 8 points.
All right, we're going to hold you to it. I say North Carolina by 10. We'll see how that works out. I'll get Dave Shannon's prediction here in a few minutes.
59-51.
All right, he even gives us scores, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy, real quick, let me ask you this. Jamie Dixon leaving Pitt. Of course, they have a new coach out there. How do you think that's going to work out now that even Knight has left, like one of their longtime alums from Pitt, the assistant coach? Do you think there's going to be a lot of chaos now in Pitt basketball for a couple of years, or are we okay?
Well, Stallings is a good coach. He coached Vanderbilt, and he coached them into the NCAAs this year. Mm-hmm. Of course, it was like the play-in game, but still, He has a track record of producing wins. They had a kid on Pitt's team on Jeter.
Yeah.
Who played for Stallings.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Because he didn't like Stallings.
Right.
Went to Pitt, back home to Pitt. No, Stallings that's just messed up.
And how's that going to work out?
Jeter.
Well, how's that going to work out? You think Jeter stays, or he leaves like Brandon Knight, and maybe finds another place to go? I don't know how that works, but do you think that'll work out with Jeter staying there?
maybe. It all depends what Stallings says to him. Maybe Jeter wasn't getting any good playing time or whatnot. Who knows the situation down there? But, I think Jeter will stay. He believes in Pitt. Pittsburgh's his hometown.
Exactly.
But, I think it's going to be it might be a good year or two before, they really get moving along. They already lost a 4-star recruit coming in.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Stallings is a good recruiter, and we'll see what he does.
All right, Jimmy Ty live from Hamburg on Skype tonight on the Monday Night Sports Talk. Jimmy, thanks again, man. We'll be in touch. All right.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. Take care.
Got to apologize a little bit, Dave. Normally we would edit that stuff. I didn't have time to edit it today, but you heard Jimmy, and Jimmy told us what his prediction was. And he says, well, Villanova, quite frankly, I think he gave him 10 points. 8 points, okay. And I'm giving UNC 10. Your thoughts on the game that's coming up this evening on TBS at 9, and who do you think wins this game? Give us a point spread, if you will.
Well, before we get too far, I got to weigh in on this TBS thing.
Okay.
Because I don't know who has the NCAA basketball championships going forward.
Well, I was going to talk to you about that after we got the predictions and stuff, because I got another rant on that stuff by itself.
Yeah, well, so do I.
Yeah.
But, okay, North Carolina final will be 72-57. It's 15 points. And it won't be that wide of a spread, but at the end, Villanova will start to foul to try to get back into the game.
Okay.
That's where North Carolina will go ahead and add the points in and get that 15-point margin. Wow. 72-57 in favor of the Tar Heels.
72-57, Dave says Tar Heels win, and I go with the Tar Heels as well, only by 10. When you look at the average margin of wins by the Tar Heels, Dave, I think it's around 16 points. Meanwhile, Villanova actually has an average of about 24 points per game in winning their games. Of course, that was inflated by that record against Oklahoma Saturday when it went up to 44 points. But their only close call was a 5-point win over number 1 seed Kansas in the South Regional Final. So I'm going with UNC tonight. And let's talk a little bit about this upcoming game.
Let me say one more thing about these two teams.
Sure.
After watching the games on Saturday.
Yeah.
North Carolina did what they did, and honest to God, it was too damn easy for them, but it was easy.
Okay.
The thing I saw, Villanova worked their butts off against Oklahoma.
Right.
I mean, the entire game, beginning to end, a lot of running, a lot of that. Now, granted, they've had a day to recuperate. They're young guys, so physically that should not be a problem. But I'll tell you what, the only way that they maintain a really close game or maybe even take a lead is if they get into that again. And I just don't think it's possible.
I don't think so either. No.
Right, go ahead.
And I agree with you on that point. And, I have to think, Jay Wright, I don't think they've been there, since 85, I think it was, when Rolly Massimino was the coach and Dougie West, I believe, was on that team.
Yeah, I loved it.
From Altoona. It was an incredible run that year for Villanova Wildcats. We haven't heard much of them since. Let me ask you this. Because of the Wildcats' success, do you see the Big East now returning? I know it's not going to be like the days of Georgetown and some of the other teams that played in the Big East, but you see, that is certainly going to help the Big East, isn't it, in terms of recruiting now in basketball?
Maybe a little, but I'll tell you what, you're talking about those SEC teams and,
ACC teams now, like with UNC's in the ACC.
Yeah, you talk about those schools and you got a lot of history and pride. And, if you're a kid, do you want to say you went to Villanova or do you want to say you played for the Kentucky Wildcats?
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah.
You wanted to play for
but if you can't get on the Kentucky Wildcats because they're almost like a pro team, and Caligiuri, pretty much, he picks up these kids, in the you and I talked about the AAU program, and it seems like it's so deep that he's just getting the best recruits out of everyone. Although, let's talk about it tonight. UNC and Villanova, Kentucky's nowhere to be found. They probably didn't even get tickets to this game. You know what I mean? Seriously, if you think about it.
I think Coach Cal got to go to the game if he wanted to.
I'm sure he did. Let me ask you this from a fan's perspective. Let's talk about where this game is. You know, normally we're watching CBS. You know,
Yep.
that's the home of the champions. They tout this thing all the time, and then only to find out the game ends up on TBS. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's really cheesy. You know, I understand. The only thing that I enjoyed about the game being spread out over different networks on Saturday night,
Right.
is you could go listen to the
homers, yeah. Okay.
and the Syracuse broadcast was just priceless to
Really?
listen to.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And it's like, you know, there's no pretenses here. And I get such a kick out of idiotic people that will start to try to rip homers apart. Look, how did they get there? Syracuse took them there.
Yeah.
Who pays them? Syracuse pays them.
Right.
Shut your damn mouth. Use your damn remote control. Change the frickin' channel.
Right.
Get over it. That's why, I loved it. I stayed with the Syracuse broadcast because it was it was more entertaining than the game was.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Having said that, tonight there'll be team streaming again on TNT and True TV. Now, those are two other networks most people don't get on their cable package, or maybe they do on DirecTV. But again,
TNT maybe, but not that True TV thing is like way out there. I know it's a Turner Network station or channel.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, it's like I don't even watch that damn thing, at any time. At any time, it's like, why in the hell?
I've never watched True TV until until this big dance gets underway. They give them like the few games on the first couple of nights or something like that. Then they're switching between TBS, TNT, and also CBS. So I'm just wondering, do you know what the strategy was by CBS to sell what it was that CBS bought from the NCAA? Why they farmed this out to these lesser-known networks?
I don't know. You're going to have Jim Nance as the play-by-play guy, and he's a CBS employee.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm not sure what the deal is, but if I'm the NCAA, it's like, never again. You don't do this crap to us again.
It's crazy.
There is still this bottom line, and quite frankly, I have a number of friends that don't want to be spending the money that it costs to either be on satellite or cable because it is pretty damn expensive.
Right.
And what they're doing, I love digital television because it's opened up a lot of options for people that don't want to get into satellite or cable TV viewing.
Right.
However, that being said, those people won't be able to watch the game tonight. And it's like, I'm sorry, if I'm the NCAA, it's like, whatever agreement we had with you, we're ripping up.
Yeah.
We're going to a network I can guarantee you, if ABC had this, they would be on.
What do you think they would?
They would be on the network.
And they wouldn't be running it on ESPN, which is owned by, well, actually, Disney owns all that stuff.
They own all
hey,
that.
Dave, listen, hold on just a second. I've got a guy calling in right now on our line at 814-242-4845. We're on the air live here at theairnetwork.net, and of course, talking about the NCAA tournament. Hey, Coach Gary Weld, is this you on the line? Okay, I'm sorry. Who is this? Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was waiting for Gary Wald to call in, but listen, jump in there, Jeff Speck, Dave.
All right,
I'm just calling in about this NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Basketball in this NRG stadium. I don't care when they do a wide shot.
Yeah.
It looks like the stands are 500 feet away. I mean, you're looking at 30 yards on a football field.
Okay, let me get Dave in here if I can see. Can you still hear me, Jeff? Yeah. Okay. Dave, what Jeff just said was when NRG Stadium looks like a major football field and it just looks too broad and too wide, basically.
Yeah, well, I understand that the NCAA wants to get as many people in to watch a game as possible, but there comes a point where I don't think it's conducive. Believe me, I saw what this looked like when I traveled with the St. Francis University women's basketball team, and we went to Syracuse to play the Orange, and it's set up in the end zone at one of the end zones inside the Carrier Dome. And then you've got these pretty decent-sized bleachers. But the bottom line is when they take a shot from the end of the court looking up into the stands, you realize at times, depending on the competition for the team that's playing, you realize how empty that cavernous building is. And I don't think it ever looks good. I don't know why they stick with it other than they can pack more people in at a big ticket price.
Right.
Try to watch the national championships.
All right, we're going to have a little bit of problem you hearing Jeff, by the way, but I want Jeff to continue on, and then we'll wrap up this segment on basketball. Jeff, what else were you mentioning there?
Yeah, it's just so darn big, and I mean, when you watch as many basketball games as we have over the years, it's up close. It's the fans in the face, and now it looks like the one student section is a half mile away, and the other student section's a mile away on the other end, and I just don't even know how players, after they basically played their whole career, probably from bitty basketball through high school through college basketball, and now they were thrown into this big cavern, and man, that's got to be a whole new atmosphere to try to deal with.
So the problem really is when they bid out these locations. Matter of fact, they should pay attention to what the hell's going on then, the NCAA.
Yeah, and that one thing about it, they're not going back. I mean, they see the dollars ringing up in the cash register.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we deal with from now on.
Well, look how many butts you can get into this seat. I mean, that's the bottom line, Dave. I think
they're high ticket too. That's
high ticket. I don't know what you would pay. What do you think you pay for a ticket to go to an event like that?
Well, you're definitely in around, depending on the height that you're up.
Yeah,
you're probably starting around $2-something.
Oh,
to
easy
get around the court.
Yeah, and I noticed between games the other night, Jeff, like on Saturday, they cleared out the stadium for the student section anyhow. You could see them moving them out so they could get the other students in from the Syracuse and from UNC for that second game. So there's a lot of money to be made down there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the TV, they kind of make it look good, but, they can do things with the cameras and with all the shots on TV. But I'll tell you, when you actually see what's going on, it ain't basketball, folks.
No, and Dave and I were thinking there might even be a depth perception problem there, Dave, for the players. I'm thinking, hell, you'd have to get in there and practice forever to make sure you weren't throwing the thing over the backboard or something.
Of course, maybe Villanova likes that. Maybe they'll shoot 71% again tonight.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping that it's a half-decent game, unlike the Villanova-Oklahoma game, man. Somebody needs to keep it close. And I'm sure those folks in Vegas would hope the same thing happens as well.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Villanova, but I think the Tar Heels will notch another one here tonight and probably do it by 12 or 15.
Okay, so you're going with 12 and 15 for UNC or Villanova?
UNC, although I'd like to see Nova do it. I think the Tar Heels are going to be too much.
All right. Well, you pretty much joined Dave and I in our consensus for tonight. So we'll see how that works out. Jeff, I appreciate you calling. Listen, I am waiting for Gary Weld, who you know from Huntington Little League. Yeah, that'll be calling us. Hey, give me, real quick, while I have you on the line, I'm sure Gary will repeat it. Give me sort of a synopsis of what's going on in Huntington for the Little League here.
Well, we've got the season opening up coming up next Monday. Now, it's pretty non-traditional. Usually there's the parade and go down to the first few ball games, but this year we're doing the first games will be starting next Monday, and that'll be the Huntington Little League baseball and girls softball. Brand new this year. And thanks to sheets on our scoreboard, we're going to see a new pitch count machine will be up there, keeping track of how many pitches have been made. Also on the what's known as the old softball field, which is now the softball and instructional league, and where the junior varsity plays at, a joint venture between the Huntington School District and Huntington Little League. We went 50-50 and put in a much-needed new modern backstop on that field. So some upgrades made over the course of the winter and the early spring here, and getting all excited now. Coming up, that'll be on Saturday the 16th.
Right.
That is when we'll have our traditional parade. Starts at 1 o'clock, marches down Washington Street to the field, and opening ceremonies there. And you'll probably be in on this one. It's the 50th anniversary of the 1966 Huntington Little League State Championship team, and we have those players coming back and some other special guests. It should be a pretty nice opening day. That's on September 16th, even though the ball games get underway next Monday.
Right, okay, so ball games get underway Monday, the 11th, and, of course, a big celebration with the parade downtown Huntington and the opening of the ceremonies at the Little League Field on the 16th, and, of course, the 50th anniversary of the all-star team that won the state championship back in 1966. Jeff, is that the only team that's ever won state championship?
That is it. They are the one and only. So
okay, cool.
As we know, we ain't getting any younger, and to get these guys back to the 50th commemoration and have some things to hand out for them, and looking forward to a lot of fun. Of course, we do other things there on opening day and recognize the kids, but that should be a pretty big thrill. But yeah, here's a group of guys that did it. They won the state championship, and they're right here in Huntington, and they're going to be there on Saturday the 16th.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I was an alternate on that team, and I never got a chance to suit up or play, but if somebody would have gone down, I also could have been a state champion that year. Yeah,
well, hey, you were part of the team, though. You were right there and named in it, so I'm looking forward. That's going to be a great time. That always is, that opening day ceremonies, but that'll be extra special this year, having that gang back in town.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. And we're going to chase down some of the old birds and see if those guys can still run the bases.
We'll have the ambulance on standby.
I was going to say, make sure Joe Thompson's working that day. We might need to dial 911.
Maybe bring a life flight in.
Exactly. Hey, Jeff Speck, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, hey, have a good evening. Talk to you later.
All right, do the same. Jeff Speck, of course, who joined us from time to time on Monday Night Sports Talk. I was expecting a call from the Little League coach or president, and Jeff is involved in Little League, Dave. So I'm sorry that we kind of went out of the format, but I wanted to grab that call as soon as I could. So I guess we're good to go now.
Does give us a way to transition into the MLB season.
Exactly. I was hoping it'd be the other way around. I thought we'd get into the MLB and then talk about Little League. But let's talk about the MLB. Of course, yesterday's opener, you got to be happy with Liriano and his performance right out the chute. I think, 10 strikeouts, 1 RBI yesterday, Dave?
Yeah, he's turning into an ageless wonder at this point. He's starting to rival what A.J. Burnett did. You get to a certain age, and it's not as easy to pitch as it once was. And I'm watching the radar gun yesterday, and there's Francisco Liriano throwing 93, every once in a while hitting 94, and throwing some of the nastiest stuff at hitters that, just it's amazing to me. And I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday as that game was going on. Ray Searage has developed a theory that has paid off in spades for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that is you trust your catcher to be a good backstop.
Oh, yeah.
He has encouraged every starter on that team and relievers as well. Mm-hmm. Do not worry about putting the ball in the catcher's mitt. What you're worried about is fooling the hitter. If that ball hits 6 inches in front of the plate,
exactly.
That's good.
Yeah. And that happens quite a bit.
with all the way across the staff.
Yeah.
You see it all the way across the staff. And the way you're able to do that is you have a lot of faith in your backstop, which in this case is
Cervelli.
Cisco Cervelli.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what else kind of stuck out in your mind yesterday in that game as they defeated the Cardinals? I think the final was 4-1 in that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a little disappointed in Melanson's performance. Mm-hmm. And, of course, when you're a reliever, it is so tough to do this. But he's got an ERA of 9 right now. He give up 1 run in 1 inning, so your ERA is automatically 9. Mm-hmm. But I was a little disappointed in the way that he came out there. And, it's like he didn't seem to be ready for those first 2 batters. Maybe it had something to do with the weather.
I'm thinking maybe he wasn't really truly warmed up because that was kind of brutal weather with that wind yesterday.
What amazed me is how Liriano held up through it. You're talking about an aging guy, that's out there throwing in real cold weather. Mm-hmm. Somehow he manages to pitch a game like that. Man, you got to tip your cap to the guy because that was an outstanding effort by Francisco Liriano. The other things that stood out for me, I'll tell you what, the guy that's blowing me away right now is Todd Freese.
Oh, Freese, yeah, okay.
I mean, Freeze is just off the charts. The guy made a couple of plays yesterday that would have gone past Pedro Alvarez and been down the line, bouncing around in the corner. And also his hitting, he's been hitting well. It's amazing to consider that a month ago, Freeze was not on anybody's roster, contract with no one, and now he's a key part of the Pirates team to the point where I think, not that Jaso had a bad game yesterday at first.
Right.
But the bottom line is, if it were me and the way Todd Freeze is playing right now and the pedigree that he has coming into the Pirates, when Jung-Ho Kang gets back and healthy, I think they want him to play third because you can't deny what Jordy Mercer has been able to do at short.
So you move Freeze over to first then?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, is Freeze coming over from Philadelphia to the Cardinals? Where did he come from?
He was last at Anaheim.
Anaheim, okay. Wow.
Yeah, he was last with the Angels. And I think that was Cardinals, Angels, semi-retirement, back out of retirement, playing for the Bucks.
Right.
So the Pirates have become the reclamation project for any elderly baseball.
Oh, no doubt. You know, but the thing is, these pickups that they get, like Cervelli, Freeze, numerous others, they seem to really play well together with the Pirates. And at least if they don't do anything else, they give you one good year, you know? And
Cervelli is not that old, but I don't want to throw him into that same category. But Freeze is definitely in that category.
Yeah.
And, so you look at that, it's a shame they don't have a better starting pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll stick with what I said last week, and that is Jeff Locke should only be on a Sunday beer league team.
Right.
That's the only place he should be pitching. And you people are going to find this out. You might see him go out there and have 3 outstanding innings. Mm-hmm. He's going to blow up in the 4th or the 5th inning every time he goes out. And once he goes, man, he unravels like skein that's being pulled by a cat.
Well, let me ask you this. Who gets the nod then tomorrow? Garrett Cole obviously will be on the hill for the Pirates when they face, I believe that's the Cardinals tomorrow evening.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, what do you think about that deal that Polanco agreed to today, that 5-year extension? According to multiple reports, a base value of about $35 million. Also includes about 2 club options. That can't hurt anything, having him in camp now, at least till, I believe, the original deal was to 2017. So now they've upped it another 5 years, so he's good to go maybe till 2021.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they've done a great job with all of that because they got Marte locked in. They got McCutchen locked in.
Yeah.
Locked in Josh Harrison.
Yep.
And now they locked in Gregory Polanco. Harrison, I don't know. I love the guy. He goes all out, but he's starting to show at times he can be a little streaky.
Inconsistent, but here again, it's the beginning of the season. Now, Polanco's 24, and he batted with a .256, 9 home runs last season. Yesterday wasn't a bad day for him. The guy goes 2 for 3.
Yeah.
He had a double, 2 runs scored. That's promising. But again, it may take some of these guys a while just to kind of get acclimated and get up to speed, like Harrison in his case.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Hay had a couple of down streaks last year throughout the course of the season because he really did get to play basically the whole year last year in one way, shape, or form.
Right. Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I mean, you just got to hope that his downswings don't last that long. It's going to happen. It's and it happens for most all players. By the way, one important note, tomorrow night's starter is actually John Neese.
Oh, is it Neese? Okay.
Yeah, because Cole, I don't think Cole is going to be ready until the weekend. I think he's going to be starting in what would be the number 5 starter part of the rotation.
Okay, yeah.
So,
you and I talked about that last week. You thinking maybe they'll start him out slow at the beginning of the season, then put him in second spot in that rotation maybe in June, July, with any hope. At least we hope so.
I don't know. You can go ahead and let Lariano be your number 1, and it's just like wait for the All-Star break and do that for your reset.
Yeah.
Lariano throws the last game before the All-Star break. You come out of the All-Star break with Cole, and then if you want to follow him with Lariano, he's going to have the rest he needs to come back. So, that's when you can do – if you want to reset your staff, and reestablish your number one starter, you can do it at the All-Star break if no other time.
I had to start calling you Coach. It's Monday Night Sports Talk here on theairnetwork.net. Greg Banks in the studio. Dave Shannon live from Altoona tonight via Skype. Thank you again to Jeff Speck, who jumped on our studio line, 242-4845. You can give us a call and talk anything about sports tonight. Dave, I tell you what, that game yesterday with the Penguins and the Flyers, what a rout. What a rout. And we're going to the playoffs. And talk a little bit about this weekend for them and the significance.
Well, I have never seen a team, you talk about peaking at the right time. Now, that being said, I said to someone yesterday, I said, don't care what they do against the Flyers on Saturday because that's the last game of the regular season. Mm-hmm. But I do care about what they did yesterday, and boy, they did not disappoint. And, it's amazing to watch the excitement within all of the lines that are playing for the Penguins right now. All four lines just go all out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing I've said to a number of people now. And what it's regarding is Evgeny Malkin.
Right.
And although, he's the second best player on the team, I'll be darned right now if he comes back and is ready to go in the playoffs. I don't know that I wouldn't put him down on the third line, because why mess with what's going on with Bonino, Kessel, and Hagelin
exactly.
right now. That line is just unfrickin' believable.
Yeah, you got to believe in the league itself, NHL. They're talking about the Penguins now, unlike any other time of the season, especially before Christmas. Let's face it, we didn't even think that the Penguins even had a chance maybe for the playoffs, not under the Johnston regime. And then Sullivan comes in and makes these changes. People are patient, including the players, and now it's coming into fruition.
All I have to say is, told you so.
Yeah, you did. You did. You called that. Hey, let me ask you this. Matt Murray's performance yesterday in net, man, in goal, this kid is got to be the next one in. I mean, what are you thinking about his performance?
Well, what I think is in the game plan as far as the Penguins and the way they manipulate their players.
Right.
I think, Jeff Zatkoff better be ready to go looking for work. Print your resume up.
Oh, man, Murray has 7 wins already. You know what I mean?
You got to go.
Yeah.
Because I think what the Penguins' plan is, and Sullivan likes Murray. He's a bigger guy only by height. I mean, he's very thin.
Yeah.
So I imagine they'll work on helping him, gain
bulk
a little
up.
body size.
Yeah.
Bulk up just a little bit, because I'll tell you what, you need that extra, because every night you go out there, you're probably losing 15 pounds a night.
Oh, with all that gear on, no doubt. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think the plan with Matt Murray is that I'm not sure when Fleury's contract runs out, but I think what this is a gradual implementation of Murray into more and more games so that he gets that experience. And when Fleury's contract comes up, unless he is just standing on his head in goal, I say they let Fleury go and Matt Murray is your new goalie.
Wow. Let's talk about the upcoming playoffs, Dave. Let's kind of break it down and take our time with it just a tad. Penguins, of course, they had a 3-on-3 skate this morning. They're still going to keep working. What's the schedule looking like? Do you know anything about that? And are they going deep into the playoffs this year? What's your feelings on that?
Well, I have to revise. At first I thought first round and they're done. I don't think that anymore. I think they will end up playing the Caps for the Eastern Conference Championship.
Okay.
And I would have guaranteed rubber-stamped the Caps into the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I can rubber-stamp it anymore if the Penguins are going to continue to be able to play the way they are. Now, that being said, one of the nice things is Mike Sullivan was down with Scranton Wilkes-Barre at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah.
So he is familiar with the talent that's down there and available.
And even that team's doing well in the AHL this year.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the bottom line is, because you always worry about injuries here, I almost pooped myself when Crosby got, in that game against the Islanders. I mean, the Islanders were dirty. They looked like the Flyers.
But even the Flyers game, I watched Simmons hit a couple of guys with his elbow, you know what I'm saying, away from the puck. And no penalties were called on that. So, I mean, the Islanders weren't the only dirty jokers out there.
No, but I think the Islanders played a much more physical game than what the Flyers did. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting what the Flyers did yesterday, but I think the Islanders played a much more physical game. And I'll tell you what, when you get to the point, and it was, God bless Eric Fair, because Fair had enough. Enough is enough, and he didn't have the best fight in the world. But, boy, I'm telling you what, he took on Martin like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And, I mean, they just popped out of the penalty box, dropped the gloves, and went right at it.
Right at it, yeah, no doubt. You know, and I think they're trying to put the rest of the league on notice. And I think I even heard as much and read as much in an interview with some of the Penguins this weekend. It's like, you know what, we're here to work, and, you know, we're going to look out for one another. Having said that, Dave, when you look at this roster, Crosby, Malkin, Fleury, Kessel, Letang, Mata, Hornquist, it sounds like an all-star team. No, seriously, do you think the rest of the league has that same perception that we do, the fans? And you're the ultimate fan. I mean, I just tune in from time to time about this time every year.
I think the rest of the league views Chicago that way, very much.
All right.
I think they think the Blackhawks, and maybe to a point, they may be a skosh better than what the Penguins are. You know, could the Penguins go against the Blackhawks and win the Cup? I think that's possible. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when you sit down and you look at it, it is, you know, the Chicago Blackhawks have a real good team. There have been some changes in the Washington Capitals. You don't get to 116 points in the season without having the right group of guys together, and they definitely did that. There's no doubt that they've done exactly what they needed to do with the Caps.
Right.
The thing that has amazed me, here's the key to the Penguins' success, and that key to success is their dogged defense, and, you know, it's the forecheck is generally what they talk about when you're, you know, the other team is in your offensive zone and you are just pestering the living heck out of them.
Right.
And stealing the puck from them so they never even get a chance to take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the New York Islanders, pretty well known for their offense, only got 24 shots away on Saturday. And the Flyers did get 30 shots at Murray, but Murray was up to the task. He made, 28 saves out of those 30 shots.
Right.
By the way, if everything ended today, the Penguins would take on the Flyers in round one, and the Pens would have the home field or home ice advantage.
Right, exactly. And those tickets are probably going to go on sale real quick. But how many more games in the season do they have? I see they play Ottawa tomorrow.
Right, they got 3. Ottawa, the Caps, and then the Flyers to wrap things up.
How cautious should Sullivan be with his players? Like, should he give maybe Fleury more of a rest and let Murray just kind of, get his legs under him? Or do you think you put everybody out there and just, for practice sake? You know what I mean? And what do you do there?
I don't think in hockey that you want to interrupt the flow.
Okay.
Now, you may adjust the times that players are playing at this particular point.
Right.
Maybe Crosby, because if you watch the games, you'll notice Crosby's not only out during when his own line is out there, which has him with Kunitz and Hornquist.
Yeah.
You'll also see Crosby out there with probably the fourth line. You might see him out there with Tom Kuhnhackl and Connor Sheary. He center that line every once in a while. So Sidney puts a lot of time in. I can guarantee you what I'd be doing, this is not anything that's out of the ordinary. I would just have Sidney only play with his line mates, whoever they are, for that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I would stick with a 4-line rotation, maybe spread things out a little bit. Chris Letang right now is playing at a level that is just off the charts. And I'll tell you what, that has made, Jim Rutherford can take a beating about any number of things that he may have done since he's become GM. But picking up Trevor Daley and Carl Hagelin.
I was going to mention Hagelin right off the bat. I mean, that had to be one of the best moves that Rutherford has done in recent memory. I mean, just bringing that guy in.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. If you've noticed since Ole Mata went down and you have Trevor Daley paired with Chris Letang, what a pair they are. What a pair they are together.
Right.
That one, to me, is pretty darn impressive, so that if Ole is available to come back, I don't know that I wouldn't put Ole together with Brian Dumoulin as your second defensive pairing on that team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a number of things there where right now, and these final three games, there's this issue to me of chemistry.
Yeah.
You can't buy that. You cannot buy it. You can't coach it. You can't do anything about it other than sit there and admire it. And that's when it comes to the point where, like I say, when Malkin first comes back, I would be really tempted to keep him down on the third line and let Bonino and Kessel and Hagelin play together because it's magic. That line is magic right now.
Would you take a look at these last three games and say, okay, I'm really going to be sort of ultra-conservative with my players? I mean, I'm going to give them some time on the ice, no doubt, so they can kind of work that momentum. But at the same time, I've got to be on the side of caution because I don't want anybody hurt going into these playoffs.
You lace them up, you put the pads on. It doesn't matter when it happens. It can happen anytime.
That's true. Yeah.
So I would not approach the end of the season any differently other than maybe you cut down the time on the ice for some of the guys, but everything else stays the same.
Right.
Practice is the same. Everything is the same. So that when next Wednesday comes around, if you're playing on opening night of NHL playoffs, nothing is different. They're already going to have a number of days off because they play Saturday, so they'll have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off.
That's true, yeah.
If they open up on Wednesday. So they're going to have plenty of time off. And, it's just kind of tough. You lace them up, you put the pads on, and you go out there, and it is tough to just cut back. You play the way you play.
Yeah, I guess if you cut back, you could also get a little injured. Yeah, you could also get some injuries there. Let me ask you this, Dave. It's Monday Night Sports Talk. Greg Banks in the studio and Dave Shannon live from Altoona via Skype tonight. If you'd like to jump in our last 15 minutes, give us a call. 814-242-4845 is the number. 814-242-4845. Or you can jump on Skype and just go to Greg Banks 3. That's Greg Banks 3. Let me ask you this. Canadian hockey, man, there's no teams representing this year in the playoffs. That's got to be one of the very few times, to my understanding. What's your take on that this year?
Well, I think most all of the Canadian teams are in a rebuilding phase. I mean, Toronto definitely. The Canadiens, Michael Therrien will be without a job next year. As soon as the season's over.
Yeah.
Because Canadians aren't going to be happy with that. Ottawa's in the midst of somewhat of a rebuilding there.
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers have Connor McDavid. That's a guy you build a team around.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a whole lot around him. They will start to put pieces around him. The Calgary Flames, the Flames, I don't know that they're ever going to really be in contention.
Right.
And Winnipeg Jets are kind of in the same situation. There is one minor detail that you have to take into consideration. And trades are trades, which most of the time a player has no control over. But if you are a player, because of the tax structure.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Canada, you really don't want to
be there. Yeah.
For playing for a Canadian team because, man, oh, man, it's suicide.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you're watching 30% of your salary go down the drain.
You hear a sucking sound every payday, man.
Yeah.
Although the cost of living, relatively speaking, in Canada may be cheaper there than it is here. And I don't know. I remember you used to get so many cents on the dollar there. And that whole thing has changed, and it wouldn't surprise me at some given time that they start buying euros. You know what I'm saying? Because they seem such a foreign country. In the fact that I never really understood this, but they have 7 teams there. Okay, in the National Hockey League from Canada. Now, do you think that the league itself will ever expand to? Well, I hate to say this, but like to Finland or Switzerland? Or even Mexico, heaven forbid.
No, I don't see any of that going on. I mean, it might be nice to have a couple of exhibition games against European teams, but, the travel costs. The NHL is...
Well, let me ask you this question then. Seriously, let's be real. We're in a hockey environment in Pennsylvania to some extent. We've got the Penguins, who have won cups in 91, 92, 2009. You have the Canadian teams. You got New York. They're always there. Chicago. But come on, is it going to continue in those southern states like in Carolina, Tampa Bay, those areas that really, when you watch a game, in those areas, there's nobody in the stands, quite frankly. And if they are in the stands, they're like transients from up here in the north.
Well, Tampa does draw pretty well. The Lightning is, they do draw well. The Florida Panthers are horrendous.
They're horrendous, yeah.
That's like, sometimes you see a game from Florida and it's like a high school crowd.
Yeah.
That's all the more people they have.
Do you think Bettman has some concern when it comes to how they need to get this league to be more dominant? Because let's face it, baseball used to be the number one game in America. It's now football, baseball, and hockey's down there somewhere. But if you eliminate some of these markets and make it a little bit more consistent, that there might be some excitement conveyed in National League hockey.
I don't think to be honest with you, the one place I do think they need to make an adjustment in is Major League Baseball.
Okay.
I'd like to see them cut 2 teams out. I don't care which 2.
Right.
Well, as long as one of them isn't the Pirates.
Yeah.
But
that'll probably never happen. Yeah.
But the bottom line is I'd like to see 2 less teams in Major League Baseball, but that's just me.
Yeah.
The NHL, on the other hand, it's amazing to me because the NHL has embraced what the NBA and the NCAA have not embraced with basketball. And what that is you have so many leagues now where these young guys are actually still in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing for, a professional hockey team that, has paychecks and, all the other things. And they still maintain their school.
Right.
They go through all of that. And so they're grabbing them at a young age. And it really helps. Connor McDavid was playing for the Erie Otters and the Ontario Hockey League. You can't have anybody. You can only have 1 or 2 players that are over the age of 21 on your roster.
Right.
So you're talking about most of the guys are, really young. I've seen, I did a couple of games with the NA3HL team, the Jamestown, the Southern Tier Express hockey team.
Exactly. I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Express had a couple of guys in their 16s.
Well, let me ask you this, because leagues like that, like Johnstown, now Pittsburgh, in the NAHL, developmental leagues, or up in Canada, there's great junior leagues there. NAHL is actually to propel these guys to the next level, which is Division I schools. Now, obviously, you're going to get a little interest from the pros, but once you get into Division I schools, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, those schools, obviously you're going to have some eyes on you at that point. So there is a need for developmental leagues. Having said that, or you go into the AHL, which is sort of like the minor leagues for hockey.
Well, it sure is. ECHL can be considered that to a degree as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The bottom line is that there are more developed, talented hockey players available. And I think they can keep the league at the size that it is and still be reasonably competitive at this point. You can't pick rosters for people. You can't do the draft for them.
Yeah.
You can't develop them within the minors. So, some responsibility falls on the individual franchises as to what they're able to produce.
Exactly.
So, maybe you'd look at moving one of the franchises to a different spot.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't know that you would cut the size of the league down. One of the things, and this is one of the things they like about baseball, but they could still cut 2 teams out of Major League Baseball and still do the wild card and all that, because this creation of the wild card, only having 3 divisions and then having the wild card teams, and then you have your 2 wild cards do a play-in game, and then the winner of that moves on to play in the next round. Major League Baseball. And with that in mind, you can still do that with 2 less teams.
Yeah.
I think baseball is the type of sport, and I'm not downplaying hockey. I'm just saying that they really develop those guys young. And I'm not saying college is a waste of time.
Right.
But I do think if you have the talent to begin with and you start playing the game at the level that these junior leagues are doing, it's more likely that you're going to skip college and go right to the pros, especially if you have that talent level. So I don't see the NHL needing to do anything in particular at this point.
It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. We're here Monday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. with a live broadcast at the Air Network. Meanwhile, you can call us 814-242-4845, 814-242-4845. Dave Shannon, by the way, live in Altoona. Dave, as we get ready to wrap this thing up, a couple of things I wanted to mention to you. It was a rather lengthy investigation into the LaShawn McCoy debacle in Philadelphia earlier this year where he got into a bar fight. He apparently there is no discipline on the part of the police in Philadelphia. I don't know how that happened. There was videotape. Should the NFL, when they hear something like that, discipline the players, or you think he can pretty much skate now that there's been no discipline by the police?
I think there should be some. I think the NFL should do some sort of I'm not saying they should do anything in particular in this case, but I do think that if you want to establish your league as a group of respectable men, you do have to do something. I mean, man, I just go back to that damn Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's a team of thugs. And why Marvin Lewis is still a head coach in the NFL is beyond me. Right. First of all, he can't win the big game. Second of all, he has no control over his players. Get him the hell out.
Well, that's a team situation there. I mean,
I'm not saying the NFL should take him out, but I'm saying the NFL, if you're not getting the right kind of discipline out of the individual teams, you owe it to your brand. You're the number one sport, as you had indicated earlier here in the show. That's the sport in America now.
Well, I'm thinking LaShawn got a break because I'm going to tell you what, there were a couple of cops hurt in that fight that ensued after it broke out in that bar, and he was lucky that he wasn't actually charged with anything, and the NFL will probably allow him to skate, although I understand he's got kind of a hot head. I would probably tell a youngster who is making money or somebody who's visible like LaShawn, you know what, nothing good happens at a bar after 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? He obviously is not getting that message. So I don't know if the NFL could actually impose anything in that situation because he was never charged with anything.
I don't know what kind of an agreement they have with the NFLPA. Right. I don't know if those types of things are included in the NFLPA.
Well, obviously, it must be kind of iron tight because if you got guys beating women and getting away with it and paying them off so they don't bring them to court, and then guys can be playing the next week, this was probably a misdemeanor of all misdemeanors when it comes to any kind of allegations set against LaShawn, McCoy. I think if this were the Steelers, they'd have probably handled it a little bit different, because McCoy's now up in Buffalo playing for Rex, who probably thinks, well, this is a cool thing. He beat some people, but he got off. So
I'm sure Rex feels that way.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Kaepernick. There's some talk here, and I don't know if he's signed yet or not. I think they're negotiating. He's leaving 49ers, going to the Broncos. I mean, that's kind of a winning situation for the Broncos, do you think, or what?
I think it would be a good move. I think he's done as far as the Niners go.
Yeah.
The guy has physical talent. I mean, he didn't get to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
Because he sucked.
Right.
It's like there's certain situations that you find yourself in that aren't as conducive to showing off your talent, and I think that's what he fell into in San Francisco. He still has athletic ability. There's only so much you can do as an athlete because, we talk about the team game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in the NFL, are you relying on everybody that's out there?
Mm-hmm.
It's like ask Ben Roethlisberger what it's like to play with a Swiss cheese front in front of you.
Yeah, exactly, compared to somebody that might want to block for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I understand.
Absolutely. So I think it'll work out well. And, it'll probably drive, now I can't remember his name, that did quarterback once.
Yeah, Osweiler, I think, is already looking at moving to the Houston Texans, I believe. That was the latest word that I got, that he is probably going to sign with them if he hasn't already signed with them. So, and he told them as much. You know why? What happened was, if you remember, Peyton Manning was just dragging his feet on making a decision.
Right.
And Osweiler basically saying in the background, come on already. Well, you know what? He had already made up his mind. He was leaving. He was going to get paid, and he was going to get the starting job in Houston. And that's great because O'Brien is the coach down there. He'll be able to work with the guy.
Yeah. That's a good move for him, and it's a good move for Kaepernick. I think it can get his career back to, not just being an afterthought when you talk about his playing career.
Hey, as we wrap this up, Dave, let me get your thoughts on this real quick. The brightly colored uniforms being used on Thursday night football games last year, they called them the Color Rush campaign. Every team had to wear these, these uniforms. I believe it was Thursday night football, and it was just so god-awful that people couldn't even make out the players, and if you're colorblind, you're really shit out of luck. Your thoughts on that? Because the NFL says they're bringing them back for another season in this season.
Well, what happens? Well, at the end of the game, and they produce all these extras with the favorite players fall, and what you end up with is another marketing tool.
There it is.
Money for the NFL, baby.
Yeah. But your thoughts on these guys playing overseas in Ireland, Scotland, sometimes in Mexico? I mean, what do you think about that?
I don't know. It's kind of nice to go over there and keep the interest up because they're making money off of those people in those foreign countries buying, NFL gear. So it is kind of nice. I don't know that the players really enjoy it all that much. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. And to be honest with you, I think that those games should be limited to – I don't think they should be doing regular season games.
No, I think like preseason. Yeah, preseason would be cool, I think, man. Leave it at preseason, huh?
Right.
All right, Dave Shannon, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on board with me this evening.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we're sort of like the lone wolves. If Jeff Speckman had called in, we'd have been screwed. No, we always get through a show, Dave. We're pros. Hey, thanks again. Dave Shannon live on Skype here on the airnetwork.net. We'll do it again, by the way. Monday Night Sports Talk coming up next Monday night, live from 7 to 8.
The flames keeps getting stronger.